Once upon a time, in a small village called Okpeze, there lived two siblings named Ugawada and Uwa. Ugawada, a 27-year-old woman with eyes that sparkled like the stars and hair that shimmered in the sunlight, grew up alongside her brother Uwa. Their parents had passed away when they were very young, leaving Uwa, only 3 years older than Ugawada, to shoulder the responsibility of caring for his sister. "Ugo, let's head home," Uwa would say, using his special pet name for his sister, as they walked back from his small shop every evening. Ugawada would smile warmly, feeling grateful for her brother's love and dedication. Welcome to Afro Tales TV, your home for rich, exciting, and inspiring stories from around the world. Today's story will touch your heart and keep you hooked till the very end. If you're new here, please hit that subscribe button and turn on the notification bell, so you never miss any of our amazing stories. Uwa had made a sacrifice for Ugawada that not many brothers would make. He had dropped out of school to ensure that his sister could continue her education. Despite the challenges, Ugawada worked hard and excelled in her studies, eventually graduating from university with flying colors. However, finding a job proved to be more difficult than she had anticipated, and she found herself returning to help Uwa at his shop in their quaint little city. Their shop, nestled on the corner of a bustling street, was a cozy haven filled with the aroma of freshly baked bread and the sound of laughter. It was a place where neighbors gathered to chat and children came to buy sweets with their pocket money. "Good morning, Ugo," Uwa greeted his sister cheerfully as she arrived at the shop one sunny morning. "Good morning, Uwa," Ugawada replied with a smile, tying on her apron and preparing to start the day's work. As they worked side by side, Ugawada couldn't help but feel a sense of pride and gratitude towards her brother. Despite the hardships they had faced, Uwa had always been there for her, supporting her dreams and encouraging her to never give up. "Uwa, do you ever regret dropping out of school for me?" Ugawada asked one day, breaking the comfortable silence that had settled between them. Uwa paused for a moment, wiping his hands on his apron before turning to face his sister with a gentle smile. "Never, Ugo. Seeing you succeed brings me more joy than anything else in this world. Your education was worth every sacrifice." Ugawada felt a lump form in her throat as she listened to her brother's words. She realized then just how much Uwa had sacrificed for her, and she vowed to make him proud. As the days turned into weeks and the weeks turned into months, Ugawada and Uwa's bond grew stronger with each passing day. They faced challenges together, weathered storms together, and celebrated victories together. One evening, as they closed up the shop and made their way home, Ugawada couldn't help but feel a sense of contentment wash over her. She may not have a fancy job or a glamorous life, but she had something far more precious. A brother who loved her unconditionally, and a bond that would withstand the test of time. As they reached their humble little house, Ugawada turned to her brother with a smile. "Thank you, Uwa, for everything." Uwa smiled back, his eyes twinkling with affection. "No, Ugo, thank you, for being the best sister a brother could ask for." And with that, they stepped into their home, ready to face whatever the future held, together. In the quaint village where Ugawada and Uwa lived, life continued at its steady pace. The days at the shop flowed one into the other, filled with the familiar rhythm of baking bread and serving customers. But amidst the routine, something unexpected happened that would change Ugawada's life forever. One sunny afternoon, as Ugawada was sweeping the front porch of their shop, she noticed a handsome young man walking down the street. His name was Odira, and he had recently returned from the city to work at his father's company. Odira had a friendly smile and a kind demeanor, and Ugawada couldn't help but feel a flutter in her heart whenever he passed by their shop. "Good afternoon, Ugo," Odira greeted with a smile as he walked past, his eyes meeting hers. "Good afternoon, Odira," Ugawada replied, her cheeks flushing slightly at the sight of him. As the days went by, Ugawada found herself looking forward to Odira's visits more and more. They would chat and laugh together, exchanging stories about their lives and dreams. Odira was a graduate with big aspirations, and Ugawada admired his ambition and determination. One day, as they stood outside the shop chatting, Odira noticed Ugawada stealing glances at him and decided to break the ice. "You seem to be staring at me quite a lot, Ugo. Is there something on my face?" he teased with a grin. Ugawada blushed, feeling caught off guard. "Oh no, I was just, admiring the view," she stammered, feeling embarrassed. Odira chuckled, his laughter contagious. "Well, I'm flattered. How about we grab a cup of tea together sometime?" And just like that, a friendship blossomed between Ugawada and Odira. They spent more and more time together, exploring the village and getting to know each other better. Ugawada found herself opening up to Odira in a way she never had with anyone else, sharing her hopes, fears, and dreams. But amidst the newfound friendship, Uwa couldn't help but feel uneasy. He had heard rumors about Odira's past and worried that his intentions might not be genuine. "Ugo, I don't trust that young man," Uwa would caution his sister whenever she mentioned Odira. "You need to be careful around him." But Ugawada would only smile and brush off her brother's concerns. "Oh, Uwa, you worry too much. Odira is just a friend. There's nothing to be afraid of." Despite her reassurances, Uwa couldn't shake the feeling of unease that lingered in the pit of his stomach. He knew that Ugawada was a grown woman capable of making her own decisions, but he couldn't help but worry about her safety and well-being. As the days turned into weeks and the weeks turned into months, Ugawada's bond with Odira grew stronger. They shared laughter and secrets, dreams and aspirations, and Ugawada found herself falling for him more and more with each passing day. As the days turned into weeks and the weeks turned into months, Ugawada and Odira's friendship blossomed into something more beautiful: love. Odira's charming smile and kind heart had captured Ugawada's heart, and before she knew it, she found herself head over heels in love with him. One evening, as the sun dipped below the horizon and painted the sky in hues of pink and orange, Odira took Ugawada by the hand and led her to a secluded spot overlooking the village. With trembling hands and a heart full of love, he got down on one knee and gazed into her eyes. "Ugo, my dearest Ugawada," Odira began, his voice filled with emotion. "From the moment I met you, I knew you were the one for me. You've brought so much joy and happiness into my life, and I can't imagine spending another day without you by my side. Will you do me the honor of becoming my wife?" Tears of joy welled up in Ugawada's eyes as she listened to Odira's heartfelt words. "Yes, Odira, 1,000 times yes," she exclaimed, throwing her arms around him and holding him close. Uwa and their friends, who had been hiding nearby, erupted into cheers and applause, their voices echoing through the night sky. It was a moment of pure happiness and celebration, and Ugawada felt like the luckiest woman in the world. After the party had died down and their friends had bid them farewell, Odira received an urgent call from his office and had to leave in a hurry. Ugawada watched him go, a pang of sadness tugging at her heart as she realized that their time together was limited. But amidst the flurry of excitement and emotions, Ugawada found solace in the comforting presence of her best friend, Olaedo. Olaedo had been by Ugawada's side since they were young girls in high school, and their bond was unbreakable. As they sat together under the twinkling stars, Ugawada poured her heart out to Olaedo, sharing her hopes and fears, dreams and aspirations. Olaedo listened attentively, offering words of encouragement and support. "Ugo, I'm so happy for you," Olaedo said, squeezing her friend's hand gently. "Odira is a wonderful man, and I know he'll make you very happy." Ugawada smiled through her tears, feeling grateful for Olaedo's unwavering friendship. "Thank you, Olaedo. I don't know what I would do without you," As they sat together in the quiet of the night, surrounded by the sounds of nature and the gentle rustle of leaves, Ugawada felt a sense of peace wash over her. She may not know what the future held, but she knew that as long as she had Oledo by her side, she could face whatever challenges came her way. Later that night, Oledo suggested they head to a nearby lounge to continue celebrating Ugawada's engagement. With the excitement still coursing through her veins, Ugawada eagerly agreed, eager to spend more time with her best friend. The lounge was alive with music and laughter, and Ugawada and Oledo found themselves swept up in the vibrant atmosphere. They ordered drinks and danced the night away, lost in the joy of the moment. But as the night wore on and the drinks flowed freely, Ugawada's memories began to blur and fade. She couldn't recall how many drinks she had consumed or how much time had passed. All she knew was that she felt dizzy and disoriented, her surroundings spinning in a haze of confusion. The next thing Ugawada knew, she woke up in a strange room, her head pounding and her mouth dry. Panic surged through her as she struggled to piece together the events of the previous night. She couldn't remember how she had gotten there or what had happened after leaving the lounge with Oledo. With trembling hands, Ugawada gathered her belongings and hurriedly left the unfamiliar room, her heart racing with fear and uncertainty. She felt like she was in a nightmare from which she couldn't wake up, and all she wanted was to escape and find safety. Running through the empty streets, Ugawada finally arrived home, her breath coming in ragged gasps as she pounded on the door, desperate to be reunited with her brother. When Uwa opened the door and saw the distress written all over her face, he pulled her into a tight embrace, his concern evident in his eyes. "What happened, Ugo? Are you all right?" Uwa asked, his voice laced with worry. Tears welled up in Ugawada's eyes as she recounted the events of the previous night, her words tumbling out in a rush of fear and confusion. I don't know what happened, Uwa. I woke up in a strange room, and I can't remember anything after leaving the lounge with Oledo. I'm so scared." Uwa's heart broke as he listened to his sister's distressing tale. He knew he had to do something to help her, to get to the bottom of what had happened and ensure her safety. "Shh, it's okay, Ugo. I'm here for you," Uwa whispered soothingly, rubbing his sister's back in a comforting gesture. "We'll figure this out together, I promise." With a determined look in his eyes, Uwa suggested that Ugawada reach out to Oledo for an explanation. Perhaps her best friend could shed some light on the events of the previous night and help them unravel the mystery. Ugawada nodded, her mind racing with questions and fears. She reached for her phone and dialed Oledo's number, but to her dismay, her calls went unanswered. Panic surged through her once again as she realized that her best friend was avoiding her. To make matters worse, she noticed a string of missed calls from Odira on her phone, indicating that he had tried to reach her throughout the night. Ugawada's head spun with confusion as she struggled to make sense of the situation. What had happened to her? And why was everyone avoiding her? With more questions than answers, Ugawada clung to her brother's comforting presence, grateful for his unwavering support in her time of need. Little did they know, the truth behind that fateful night would soon come to light, revealing shocking secrets and betrayals that would shake them to their core. After some hours, Ugawada got courage to visit Odira. Her heart heavy with fear and confusion, she found Odira waiting for her, his expression a mix of fury and disappointment. He demanded to know where she had been the previous night and why she hadn't answered his calls. Ugawada stood before him, her throat dry and her mind racing, unable to find the words to explain what had happened. I'm sorry, Odira," Ugawada stammered, her voice barely above a whisper. I don't know what happened. I can't remember anything from last night." Odira's eyes narrowed as he studied her, suspicion evident in his gaze. "What do you mean you can't remember? Are you trying to hide something from me, Ugo?" Ugawada felt a lump form in her throat as she struggled to find the courage to tell Odira the truth. She knew that revealing what had happened would only lead to more questions and accusations, and she feared that he wouldn't believe her. But before she could gather her thoughts, Odira pulled out his phone and showed her a picture that made her blood run cold. It was a photo of her lying in bed next to a strange man, their faces blurred, but their closeness unmistakable. Ugawada's eyes widened in shock as she stared at the damning evidence before her, her mind reeling with disbelief. I don't understand," Ugawada whispered, her voice barely audible above the pounding of her heart. I swear, I don't remember anything like this happening." Odira's expression darkened as he looked at her, his disappointment palpable. "I can't believe I trusted you, Ugo. I thought you were different, but it seems I was wrong. I can't marry someone who would betray my trust like this." Tears welled up in Ugawada's eyes as she pleaded with Odira, begging him to listen to her side of the story. "Please, Odira, I can explain. Just give me a chance to—" But Odira cut her off with a shake of his head, his resolve firm. "I don't want to hear your excuses, Ugo. It's over between us." With a heavy heart, Ugawada removed the engagement ring from her finger and placed it on the table, her hands trembling with emotion. She looked at Odira one last time, her eyes filled with pain and regret, before turning and walking away, her footsteps echoing in the empty room. As she left Odira's house, tears streaming down her cheeks, Ugawada felt a sense of betrayal and heartache unlike anything she had ever experienced before. She couldn't understand how everything had fallen apart so quickly, how the love she had thought was real had turned out to be nothing but a cruel illusion. But amidst the pain and despair, Ugawada knew that she couldn't give up. She had to find out the truth behind that fateful night, to uncover the secrets and lies that had torn her life apart. And with her brother Uwa by her side, she would stop at nothing to seek justice and reclaim the happiness that had been stolen from her. Heart heavy with sorrow and betrayal, Ugawada returned home to the comforting embrace of her brother, Uwa. She collapsed into his arms, tears streaming down her cheeks as she recounted the painful events that had unfolded at Odira's house. Uwa held her close, his own heart aching for the pain his sister was enduring. "Don't worry, Ugo," Uwa whispered soothingly, his voice filled with love and reassurance. "Your own man will come. You deserve someone who will cherish and respect you." Days passed, each one filled with a heavy sense of emptiness and longing, as Ugawada tried to come to terms with the betrayal she had endured. Despite Uwa's comforting words, the pain of Odira's rejection cut deep, leaving her feeling lost and alone. But despite her heartache, Ugawada couldn't shake the nagging feeling that there was more to the story than met the eye. Something didn't add up, and she couldn't rest until she uncovered the truth. With a heavy heart and trembling hands, Ugawada mustered up the courage to return to Odira's house, hoping against hope that she would find some answers. But what she saw shattered her world into a million pieces. Standing at the gate, Ugawada watched in disbelief as Odira and her best friend, Olaedo, emerged from the house, their arms linked together and smiles playing on their lips. The sight of them together was like a knife to her heart, twisting and turning with each passing moment. Unable to contain her anguish any longer, Ugawada approached them, her voice trembling with emotion. "Oh, Odira, how could you? And you, Oledo, how could you betray me like this?" Odira's expression hardened as he turned to face her, his eyes cold and indifferent. "I told you, Ugo, it's over between us. You need to move on." Before Ugawada could respond, Odira motioned to the gateman, instructing him to escort her off the premises and ensure that she never returned. Ugawada felt a surge of anger and despair wash over her as she realized that she had been cast aside like yesterday's news, discarded and forgotten by the ones she had trusted most. With tears streaming down her cheeks, Ugawada fled from Odira's house, her heart shattered into a million pieces. She ran as fast as her legs could carry her, back to the safety and comfort of her brother's embrace. As she collapsed into Uwa's arms once again, Ugawada shared the heartbreaking news of Odira and Olaido's betrayal. Uwa held her close, his own heart heavy with sorrow as he watched his sister suffer. "Don't cry, Ugo," Uwa whispered softly, his voice filled with love and compassion. "God's timing is perfect. He will bring the right person into your life when the time is right. Trust in him, and everything will be okay." Ugawada nodded, her tears still flowing freely as she clung to her brother's comforting presence. Despite the pain and heartache, she knew that she wasn't alone. With Uwa by her side, she would find the strength to endure whatever trials lay ahead, and emerge stronger and more resilient than ever before.